All right, today we're going to dive into something really fascinating, the hidden world of esoteric schools. And we're going to use the teachings of the enigmatic George Gurdjieff as our map for this journey. Now, it's a path that really starts with one simple question about our own lives.
So, let me ask you this. Are you living on autopilot? Seriously, do you ever get that feeling that you're just going through the motions, run by habits you don't even remember choosing? Well, that exact feeling, that's the core problem Gurdjieff's work is all about solving.
Okay, so to get into the right headspace for this, the source material kind of sets the stage beautifully. It's not about dry facts, it's a quest. Listen to this. Hark, little spark, and bend your inner ear. The winds of time carry whispers from forgotten paths. See? It's inviting us to listen differently, to explore a new way of being.
All right, so first things first on this quest. Let's talk about these gates to hidden knowledge. What in the world are we even talking about when we say esoteric schools?
Yeah, these are definitely not your typical schools. We're not talking about diplomas or degrees here. The currency in these places is awareness. The curriculum is all about personal transformation. And the ultimate goal? It's to awaken that slumbering God within you, that deeper potential.
And this leads us to a really, really important distinction. You've got two kinds of knowledge. On one side, you have exoteric. Think of this as the mainstream stuff, public religions, philosophies. It's open for everyone. But then you've got esoteric. And that's a whole different ballgame. It's hidden, it's all about direct experience, and the teachings are passed on only to people who are truly ready for them.
So, who's our guide through all of this? Well, that would be George Gurdjieff. Let's take a look at his pretty remarkable search for this hidden wisdom.
Now, Gurdjieff was absolutely no armchair philosopher. This guy was a real explorer. We're talking over 20 years on the road, trekking through Central Asia, the Middle East, North Africa, and he wasn't just reading old books. He was looking for the living currents of this ancient wisdom, testing every single idea against his own direct experience.
And his quest, as the story goes, led him to some pretty mysterious places, like the legendary Sarmong Brotherhood. This was supposedly an ancient school that held the keys to some really profound psychological teachings. And this became the source for the whole system he brought back to the West.
And this really gets to the heart of it. This kind of knowledge, you can't just learn it from a textbook. It's a contagion of consciousness. What a phrase, right? It's passed on through lived experience, from teacher to student. It's about being something different, not just knowing something new.
Okay, that's the background. But how does this all translate into actual practice? Well, that brings us to what's called the map of inner work. This is a real, practical core of Gurdjieff's entire system.
So the very first step on this map, it's something called self-observation. And look, this isn't just navel-gazing. It's a rigorous, totally non-judgmental practice of just watching yourself, watching your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, all to see just how much of your life is actually lived on autopilot.
So Gurdjieff's map says we operate through three different brains. You have your intellectual center, in your head, logic, analysis. Then there's the emotional center, your heart, feelings, desires. And finally, the moving center, the body, habits, instincts. Now, for most of us, these three are totally out of sync. Think about it. Your head knows you need to work, but your heart wants to doom scroll, and your body's screaming for a snack. Sound familiar? Well, that conflict is what keeps us stuck on autopilot. The whole point of the work is to get these three brains working together in harmony.
So the big question is, how do you actually do that? How do you harmonize them? The method is what Gurdjieff called conscious labor. It's all about making a real effort to do things with total awareness, especially when it goes against your mechanical habits. It's about consciously choosing to act instead of just letting your programming run the show.
But, any real quest is going to have its dangers, and this one is no different. This brings us to a super important part of the map, learning to tell the difference between real paths and, mirages.
This quote from the source material just nails it. Finding a true school is akin to finding water in the desert. But remember, the desert also holds mirages. Discernment is your most vital tool. It's such a powerful metaphor, right? There's real nourishment out there, but you have to be so careful not to get led astray. Your own discernment is everything.
So how can you tell the real deal from a fake? Well, there are some key signs to look for. A genuine school will always put the emphasis on practice, on doing, not just believing. It's going to demand real discipline, not offer you some easy feel-good fix. And the aim is always about human evolution, not about making the leader rich or famous.
And on the flip side, here are the big red flags, the mirages. You gotta watch out for heavy commercialization, like crazy fees, or any kind of guru worship where you're expected to have blind obedience. If it promises you easy enlightenment or creates this us versus them mentality, run. Those are serious warning signs.
All right, we've talked about the map, we've talked about the warnings, now it's time to actually get our hands dirty. It's time for your first inner trial.
The source material has this great name for them, dragon trials. But don't worry, they're not about slaying actual dragons. They're not trials of strength at all, but simple, personal experiments in awareness, and anyone can try them. Okay, here's a super simple one to start with, the conscious eating trial. For just one meal, that's it. Turn off your phone, turn off the TV, eat in silence. And just notice everything, the texture, the taste, the smell. And then notice that impulse to rush, or that moment your mind starts to wander off. The real magic is in step 4. Every single time your attention drifts, you just gently bring it back. That simple act, that is conscious labor.
Or hey, try this one. Interrupting a mechanical habit. Just pick one tiny little thing you do completely on autopilot. Maybe it's how you open a door, or how you pick up your coffee mug. And for just 1 week, do it differently. Use your other hand, or just pause for a second before you do it. What you're looking for is that little internal jolt of resistance. That feeling, that's the feeling of waking up, even for just a second.
And that really brings us to the end of our little explainer today. But you know, it's not really an end, it's a beginning. It leaves us with a final, very practical question for you to take away. What is one mechanical habit you can interrupt today? That's it. The whole journey, from living on autopilot to becoming more aware, can start without one tiny conscious choice.